Alright, we won the die roll. We're going to play first. What do we got? What do we got? So we've got 2 white mana. I mean, this hand needs some help, but I do think it's a keep. We're just like an Ipnu Revulet away from a pretty good hand. I'd settle for just a blue mana. Alright, so we're playing against some hyper aggro. Hopefully our life gain comes into play in this match. Well, at least they didn't have a 2-drop, unfortunately. Nor do we. I guess we'll discard maybe the Reed Stalker. So they already know we're blue because of the Reed Stalker. If I play the camel, they fly over top. If they have a creature, we're just gonna die. Or I can do this and bounce this, and that way we maybe only take like 4. Okay. I mean, I don't have to show these cards, but I mean, I'm getting information out of my opponent, I suppose. I mean, yes, at this point I've accepted that I'm going to lose, but I'm curious about seeing some things. So we'll bounce the Brawler. Like, yes, I'm showing them some information. I'm not sure it matters, because I'm getting information out of them too. like we saw the frontline Devastator. So, we didn't really get a fair shake this game, but just based on what I'm seeing from my opponent, I'm trying to like gauge how well we're going to do in this match. I think we can do pretty good. They look like they're fairly aggressive, but overall, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that we can win this. It's going to be a little bit tougher to make it a grind match against an aggro opponent, but like would Censor be better? Possibly. I don't think. Well, obviously we don't want to cut any of our life linking stuff. And I don't think it's necessary to just straight up dump the mill plan, because the mill plan still involves us getting 1/4 blockers, which would have been just fine against at least some of the stuff. Not, I guess not really that much stuff. Like, it's not good against the Devastator. It's only marginally good against the Eternal of Harsh Truth. It's not good against the Aerial Guide. But I don't know what I would prefer to have against those. Like, Skirmisher's not a good blocker against that card. Spellweaver Eternal's not a particularly good blocker against that card unless I have a way to prowess it up. Seekers are not good blockers against that card either. So it's a little bit challenging. Illusory Wrappings is not good removal against the Eternal or the Devastator so much. Or the Aerial Guide so much either. So it's good against the Blood Rage Brawler. It's a little challenging. Some of our cards are not matching well against our opponent, but some cards, like I think the Camels and the Avens, are going to match pretty well, or pair pretty well against our opponents, I would think. Yeah, I think that we just run it back. I don't see any cards in our sideboard that make me, that are compelling evidence to bring in and combat our opponent with, so I think we'll just run it back. Like Censor, because their deck's cheap, but Censor is pretty mediocre, I think, in general. Even it does cycle, I guess, but okay, here's a good hand. Good to keep this. So we get to go Avenger into Seeker at worst. At best, we get to go Avenger into, I guess, Seer of Last tomorrow. Or Illusory Wrappings, perhaps, if we need to. So we're still going to play the Seer of the Last tomorrow, get a blocker out there. Okay, so we can Illusory Wrappings that guy on our turn. Could also bounce it. Oh, they screwed up. Well, that's good they screwed up. That helps. Now we could do Unsummon instead, which is not bad, actually. Because like I said, Unsummon, making them discard another card is actually pretty brutal. We do it on their turn, though. Turn clock on Seer of the Last Tomorrow is not that impressive. Nimble Obstructionist. Okay. So we'll unsummon the Brawler. Take 3. Get in for 6. So we can Illusory Wrappings the Obstructionist. We're going to play another Seer. We can play the Seeker. I think we'll just minimize some damage here. Because of the evasion. Like, we can still block the Brawler. Wildfire Eternal. So that lets you play free instants or sorceries. But they just want a blocker. Sure. That's fine. So now we have Reed Stalker, which is also fine. So I guess we're in chill mode then, and we'll drop a Reed Stalker. Gilded Ceradon. They don't have a desert, though. Sure. Well, that's interesting. So let's get the Reed Stalker down here and figure out how we want to block. So it seems like we could double block the Ceradon here pretty effectively. We go Avenger and Seer, and we only lose probably the Avenger. We are slightly ahead on the race, though, which means we could just take 5 and smash back for a lot more damage. Then next turn they can play the Brawler and smash for quite a bit, so kind of want to make a good decision here. They have the Obstructionist to block the Seer, but they would take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on their next turn, plus we'd get a blocker. We take 5 here and go to 12, or do we just try and more effectively block and smash back next turn? Yeah, you know, honestly, I think that we just block with Seer and Avenger on the Ceradon, and then we smash back. Yeah, I think it's right. It just seems like a good block for us. So we'll take our 1. I guess they would get an instant or sorcery here, though. Which they don't have. Or maybe they do. Looks like they don't, though. You have to do it right at that time. So, I mean, that's obviously a great trade for us. Obviously a great trade for us. So we can drop 2 more dudes, but then we can only use Seer once per turn. I don't know if that matters. Let's just get in here. And we'll spew out our hand at this point. That's kind of interesting that they would concede to that. Isn't it? Doesn't it seem a bit early to do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it does. Their deck looks really good, though. The Obstructionist is fantastic. The Blood Rage Brawler is good. I've never really been impressed with Wildfire Eternal. Eternal of Harsh Truths is good, though. The Ceradon would be good. I don't know. Did we see deserts out of them in Game 1? You have to assume they have deserts in there somewhere. But, I mean, they're obviously just an aggressive beatdown deck, so we're going to have to really capitalize on some good stuff here in order to win. Mighty Leap does not seem terrible because we could block an Obstructionist. So I may actually bring in the Mighty Leap and maybe cut like maybe like an Illusory Wrappings. Yeah, I think that actually makes sense. Illusory Wrappings is pretty good. It is actually pretty good. Could I cut a creature? Should I cut a creature instead? I could do that. Or I could cut like a tempo card like Unsummon. Or I could cut like a Cartouche. Because Mighty Leap gives you that element of surprise. But Cartouche is still pretty good. It feels wrong to cut that. I could cut the Illusory Wrappings. Like I said, it's bad against Eternal of Harsh Truths. It's bad against Frontline Devastator. It's good against the Blood Rage Brawler. It's good against the Nimble Obstructionist. It's good against Gilded Ceradon. It's good against... Well, it's not so good against Wildfire Eternal. So this is like... I feel like Mighty Leap is going to be better for us than an Illusory Wrappings. Maybe more than 50% of the time. It's really tough to say. I could just cut a tempo card for it. I don't love that, though. I think we'll swap it out. I don't know if this is right. It just feels like it might be better for us to have a Mighty Leap, especially with these 1/4s. Like turning them into 3/6 blockers is pretty good. All right. I think we better mulligan this. Okay, so we'll keep this. I guess we'll leave Oketra on top. Seer with a Cartouche might be able to hold down the fort fairly effectively. It's not easily killable at the very least. Well, no 2-drop is nice as well. Aerial Guide, okay. Seeker of Insight. So we'll play our Seer and pass. Next turn we can go Seeker plus Cartouche, though, which is pretty good. Gets us another creature, sets us up for a nice consign play, perhaps. Frontline Devastator, sure. Okay, so let's figure this out. Yeah, I think we just go Cartouche. Draw. Cycle Desert. Ketra. Consign to Oblivion. So... If I play the Seeker, we kind of keep the Aerial Guide back. I think we play the Seeker. We probably want to start getting some draw discard value if possible, and the Seer is leaving the Aerial Guide back, presumably. Being that it's a 2/5, it's not super easily killable. Oh, unless you have Unquenchable Thirst, which we did not see in the first 2 games. So now it's going to be a little more problematic here. Oh, the police found me. Compulsory rest. Well, there's a good one. Okay. So I think we actually do play our lands. We don't want to cycle because Oketra just is a little mana craver. Interesting choices here. A little bit difficult to actually decide what to do consign on, because this is going to deal more damage. They left up 2 mana too, which is odd. These 3 other creatures. I can cycle Desert plus still play Compulsory Rest, but then I can't play the Consign to Oblivion. But, Aerial Guide is a big issue. It is a big issue. Because it flies and it makes other things fly. So I may have to deal with the Devastator, but Devastator deals a lot of damage. This is a challenging decision here. Because I have to wait a turn before I can do anything with Oketra. I think I rest the flyer because it makes other things fly, and then we probably consign to Oblivion the Devastator and buy ourselves a little bit of time. Okay. And we'll play the non-cycle land. And since we're going to be playing Consigned to Oblivion anyway, we presumably just leave up Seeker. I could bounce my own dude. I think that we just... Now that they can't play the Devastator, we'll do this and we'll use it. So I guess we discard the land. Okay, that's not particularly worrisome. That's actually out of place in their deck. Ours are kind of odd too, but it seems particularly out of place in our opponent's deck, doesn't it? Okay, so why don't we cycle Desert first, because we can still play Oketra. And then we'll play Oketra and pass. And we're going to need to make 2 creatures at some point, which I guess we can do. Hopefully. So opponent's got 2 cards left in their hand. We know what we need here. One card left in their hand. Take our 1. Okay, so we'll cycle the... Actually, do we want to cycle the Desert? The thing now is... The more mana we get, the more we can play. And we're going to start using it. Alright, we actually play this land. Because Oketra is going to win us the game. So we'll play the land. You can make the dude whenever, just right? Ah, okay. Play this. Pass. Unsummon Devastator, make a dude. This is one perk of them having Unquenchable Thirst. At least our guy remains on the battlefield, which is actually kind of nice. So we unsummon Devastator. Eternal is their last card, sure. So now we make dudes. Camel plus make a dude seems pretty good to me. We can attack with Oketra now. They have no cards left in hand. And we can trade Devastator for Camel. So I might just attack for 6 here. That is pretty significant damage. Yeah. They certainly do not have a good block. And them taking 6 is very significant, especially since we trade a Camel for a Devastator, we get Afflicted for 2, but we end up netting 1 life and getting a Devastator off the board, plus we get to make another dude. I think it's good. You 100% don't deserve to win this game. Getting carried by 1 card when everything else you have done was SHIT. Whoa. Jeez. That's not very nice. Alright. It's the truth. You slow play and you just play so badly. All right. Okay. So they did get cut, which is fine. So let's see, they could hit us for 5, 6, 7. We smash back for 6, 7, 8. Let's see, another camel. They do have this, so they're at 16. So we'll just deal this. So I have 8 mana, so we can make 2 dudes a turn. So if I attack with Oketra, they can block that. They could attack with Ceradon and make this unable to block. So I think we do keep Oketra back. Okay, mills for 3, taking out Wrappings, Avenger, and Island. Sure. Kind of like a cartouche off the top. That would be nice. Reed Stalker's not bad either. So I attack with Oketra. I think we do attack with Oketra here. Okay, and then the plan is Reed Stalker plus make a dude. Because we couldn't wait around forever because of open fire. So we go like this, block here, block here. Probably go like this. Okay. That way we take 3 and go to 1. God, after all that complaining my opponent does, he almost wins. My opponent says, I hope you step on a bunch of Lego blocks. I said, how dare. I think I forgot to make a dude too, didn't I? Or no, I guess I didn't. Alright. Well, got our round 1 opponent. If you learned anything, come on, don't complain, guys, please. Like, I complain to you, but I don't complain to my opponent. blame your opponent when they're winning. That's a real classy move, guys. Jeez. All right, we'll see you in round 2.